This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace. Coming up, we check out a much-anticipated game sequel, Dragon Age 2. Rad Show.
Talking about Dragon Age 2, which is of course the sequel to Dragon Age Origins, the big Bioware role-playing game set in a fantasy setting. Now this is the company that has made its name doing big, sprawling fantasy role-playing games and sci-fi role-playing games. I mean, this is the company of Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights. And of course, Baldur's Gate, the first Dragon Age was meant to be the spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate. That real deep, PC-centric role-playing game, and of course a lot of you were upset at me because I played the first one on the 360 instead of the PC. Yeah. Well, now we have Dragon Age 2, which of course is taking it farther away from those roots, I think it's pretty clear to say, and making it much more of a console-specific experience. Again, it is released on the PC and 360, but the combat is, even on the PC,
which I played,
which you played, much more that hack and slash third-person action game. I'm interested to hear what you think.
Yeah.
I don't think you think
especially after that.
Yeah. Well, they took away that that pulling back the camera and playing from a tactical view that you could do on the PC version of Origins, right? You can't do that.
I played the 360 version of Origins, so.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I'm sort of in a weird place where I didn't play the PC. I can't compare it to the PC. I can only sort of compare it to my experience on the Xbox version of those Dragons. It's very weird.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so just real quickly, the concept of Dragon Age 2 is that you're playing a completely new guy this time. And in the first game, of course, the Origins part of Dragon Age Origins was that you could select from a number of different origin stories and play very different characters. Gone is that ability here. We have one guy or girl. While you can still select a class, you can no longer select a different story. It's one storyline. I'm actually going to start with Dan because I'm curious how you played Dragon Age Origins on both the PC and the Xbox.
Right.
You played it first on the Xbox and then went back to the PC.
Right. You were like, you got to finish it. And I was
Right.
like, well, if I'm going to play it again, I might as well play on the I've started to enjoy playing on the PC, and everyone said the
Right.
PC was better.
It was one of my favorite role-playing games as far as story goes. I think we all agreed there was some clunky stuff with mechanically, but you enjoyed the story as well.
Very much.
What is your feeling on?
I think I had some problems as well with the original Dragon Age, but I loved it regardless because I loved the dialogue, I loved the story, I loved all that. I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed in Dragon Age 2. I may have not been in the right place while playing it, but I was not
in front of your television?
I was. Well, I was like hiding.
The audio was great.
I was looking through a mirror. I was not taken by the story. The dialogue is well written. It's like well done.
Absolutely.
And the story is well crafted. I can feel that in it, but. It got mired in things that the lame role-playing stuff that I always get lost in. I just got lost in this game. It feels very political, and there's no adventure in the game. The game is I'm clicking on a place, I go to that place, that icon within a city, and I'm now there, and I'm having an experience there, and I click on another icon in the city, I'm there. I'm not going on an adventure where I'm traveling across the land. I'm in one little section on a map the whole time, flip-flopping through whatever. I do have fun from time to time with the combat. It's so weird. Well, there'll be a long stretch where this is lame, and I'm just spamming a button, and then even switching my roles, which I learned to do from playing it on the PC, is really strategizing, not just hack and slashing. And there will be moments where I get into that, and that's fun. When you clock in once in a while, and the design of that battle that you've entered is maybe better done or whatever it is, that's fun to strategize. Oh, I got to slow him down with this, and this guy, move this guy over here, and even on the console, you can execute on that. Perhaps not as easily as I did on the PC when you're right. I could pull back and I was almost top down and really breaking it down. Although that was very punishing as well. But half the time I was also not having fun. And the thing I do not understand is we had all these huge issues with the graphics of the original, and the graphics here, whether it be design or actual hardware pulling off the graphics, either way, it's not a beautiful game.
I think it's a lot better than the first one.
I didn't find it to be that much better, if at all. But regardless, like even maybe technically the graphics may have more polish. It's still not a beautiful. Like this game should be beautiful. You know, Mass Effect 2 is beautiful. You know, this should be Mass Effect 2. Even though this came before Mass Effect, the Dragon Age game, I believe.
It was started to being designed before.
Right,
Yeah.
but like this should be Mass Effect 2 in fantasy world, and it's not.
Yeah, now Alex, I know one of your big issues with the first game was exactly what Dan talked about, that node-to-node feeling like the world is small, and I do feel like they went even farther that direction.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining that you have even bigger issues with that.
You know, the surprising thing is, didn't.
Really?
Yeah, and I
Oh,
think
that's
I
good.
figured out why.
Okay.
They solved the problem that I have with all RPGs. And they allowed me to experience this game better than any RPG. This is one of my favorite RPGs of all time.
Wow.
I'm like 13 hours into it.
That's great.
Great game, in my opinion. The thing that they locked into was that I think the problem I had with the node system before was they were like, what nodes? What are you talking about? What nodes? No, you're just walking to a camp.
Those aren't.
Those aren't nodes.
the nodes
Those
you're
are not
looking
the nodes you're looking for. With this, they're
And
like,
you're like, they're fat nodes.
I'm like, what about all these sweet fat nodes? With this game, they're like, you know what? Fuck it. They're nodes. It is nodes. You want to go to the lower city? It's a fucking node. But the thing that they did,
You just like the honesty of it.
yeah, because then I went, oh, cool. The city is a bunch of nodes, and I can travel. And they got rid of all the sleep bullshit. It's like, you want to go to a node at night? Fucking click on night. Click on the node.
Left trigger to night.
Boom. Or click. Yeah.
Right click.
I thought the game gorgeous. Maybe it was on the PC. There was a lot of like the wasn't
even
big.
Did you download the optional high-res
did.
pack?
Oh no. Did
There's
not
like
do
a
that.
gigabyte download high-res texture pack you can download. That's supposed to
Didn't
make
do
the
that,
game
but
look
what I
amazing.
did download was the Black Emporium, or Imperium, whatever it is,
Yeah.
Emporium. Amazing because respec potions. So you can now respec. I started as an archer rogue, hated it.
Brilliant.
Downloaded the thing, changed to dual wield.
Can you respec
loved
any of
it.
your dudes?
Any of your dudes.
Even like
drag
the
and
people
drop
that you bring into your
Yep,
party?
drag and drop.
Oh, look at that.
So, I mean, yes, I didn't do that. I'm guessing because you can do that with other potions, and it's just a potion, so I'm assuming.
There's a lot of confidence in
But
you.
so here's the thing. I love confidence. But the thing that they did that fixed all of my problems with RPGs, which is that when you go to the map to go to a place, it puts an arrow on every single place there is something to do for some quest. It doesn't have to be the quest that's marked as active. You don't have to keep going back. I kept constantly, on most RPGs, it's like, what did I have to do? There was like a boy, and then you go back and I'm like, I don't want to read this fucking paragraph. I don't. Just tell me where I'm supposed to go for all of these things. With this, you just start collecting quests and you see these great cutscenes and you're getting into the story, you're like, oh yeah. And then all of a sudden, I go to a node and I'm like, oh, I wonder what I have to do here. Oh shit, combat. Loved the combat.
Yeah, no, I really want to hit on that because
Yeah.
especially on the PC, are you
Love the
playing with
combat.
mouse and keyboard, I assume?
Mouse and keyboard.
And tell me about your experience with the combat.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Basically, what I do is I've gotten it down to my science is I have two sort of damage, like ranged damage deal. A big AO. I've been building up their AOE's.
Yeah.
And then I have a tank.
And are you controlling them beat to beat, or are you letting them kind of do their own thing?
beat to beat most of the time?
Yeah, that's what I had to do in the original.
Yeah, but I do it by choice. I can let them do what they want,
Sure.
but I'm like, you know what? I know what's best because I play the rogue. So I literally I tell my guy to go do a backstab thing to the main guy. I go back to these two guys and say AOE, AOE, and then my tank is already running and I don't really do much about the tank except watch her health. And shit happens.
Yeah.
Happens.
Right.
And I'm constantly hitting pause and then going, okay, who needs heals? Okay, oh, I can't heal that. Okay, I should move her over here.
How do you feel about the camera during combat? Are you?
It's fine because I control it.
Right.
So it's on me.
Okay.
And so I'm constantly spinning it around, hitting the space bar, spinning it around, looking at the
Which
different
is cool
enemies.
because it's like it freezes like Matrix style. It freezes time in the midst of awesome
Amazing.
explosions.
Amazing.
And like you almost like you're doing it out of necessity. And
Yeah.
you forget like wait that's awesome. Like I can like rotate
The one thing I
around
will
awesome
say
stuff.
is it is out of necessity that I usually hit the space bar
Yeah.
because the targeting you don't lock onto a target
You're not
really.
going to a place.
Yeah, and so a lot of times I would find if I don't hit the space bar, my guy, I would be clicking to try to attack, and my guy would just kind of be running up next to the person. So a lot of times I would just, out of that necessity, while my other guys are sort of bombing in, I'll hit space bar, actually make sure I'm on the guy that I want to be on, and then go out. But for a lot of times, I'm using the pauses. I'm not attacking as much. I'm pulling back, holding back. But it was great, man. I had a freaking blast, and I love that you could just go and you would see where you're supposed to go. You would go up without being like, I want that, the find the ring quest as my main quest. You just go, and then you start talking, and it's from the talking that you're like, that's that fucking guy that took the thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where, and I was pulled in. I didn't have subtitles on. I was pulled into the story. It was crazy. I really loved it.
Yeah, I'm actually much more on his side too. I'm really digging the game a lot. I find the combat, I don't know if it's improved.
Yeah.
Or if it's just easier.
Yeah.
Because I found the combat in Origins to be a struggle most of the time, and really needed to be tactical, otherwise my dudes were just dead.
Yeah.
And that the AI of my teammates was just so foolhardy that they would get themselves killed quick.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen this time. And I don't know if it's just because on normal, the enemies just aren't as hard as they used to be.
There are definitely times I died maybe 10 times before I got the tactic to finish it. Like with the dragons and with the big rock wraith or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, I see the strength, like you said, the strength of this game is the writing. I don't think that the story per se is as compelling, because I still am not really quite sure what I'm doing.
Yes.
Overarchingly.
Yeah.
And it's a long game, and I'm only about 10, 12 hours in myself. But moment to moment, the little story beats are all great, and it's such great writing. It's such a small thing, but it goes a long, long way to have actually strong dialogue, compelling characters.
Yeah.
So Bioware has I think another great game, but you didn't like it as much as the first one.
No, no. I mean,
All right. Well, there you go. Dragon Age 2.
All right, everybody, remember to stick around to this day in rad history. But first, Squarespace.com is the place to host your blog, personal portfolio, any kind of website, no matter what kind of level of coding experience it has, the best WYSIWYG editor out there. And also, don't worry, if you come across any question, issues, whatever, Squarespace, also 24/7 support. Dan Trachtenberg at One Cool Thing a Day used the 24/7 support. It was amazing. But not only that, now you've seen our stuff that we do with Squarespace. We want to see what you guys have done, and also we're looking for your questions about Squarespace or any tips that you might have, some pro tips about Squarespace. So email your pro tips or questions about Squarespace to squarespace@revision3.com, and you can have a chance to see your question or tip featured on a future episode of TRS. Now, if you don't already have a Squarespace site, head over to squarespace.com/TRS to get a 2-week free trial and learn more. Thanks again for supporting Squarespace.
And supporting our show. We appreciate it.
Heck yeah, epicness. Shall we bound off?
Let's bound.
Bounding like a...
Don't miss tomorrow when we open up the mailbag.
Today is March 15th, and on this day in rad history, in 1985, the first domain name was registered. It was symbolics.com, and I bet the guy who registered it wished he had registered sex.com instead.
Yeah.
He would be a millionaire.
Or just decided to register 1,000 URLs.
And I'm sure everyone's going to it right now, and it's nothing still.
It isn't anything?
No, it says, we're going to be launching soon.
Hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome. That's been sent in by @JonesMH. Thanks, @Jones. Oh.